right? I remember a few years back I did a video. My wife got in the car and she was like, look, I think you're great and I love you, but quit doing videos. It's like, oh, they call me Cue Card Carpenter. In 2007, we were, yeah, okay. But it is kind of crazy to think about just in the basement, short of 19 years ago, and then all the amazing things God has done and the lives that have been changed, and so grateful for that. And with that, I've got a question for you this morning. As we've been talking about like what's next, and what's next kind of comes with this concept of building something. So I would like to ask you guys all in this room right now, just personally, I want you just to think for a second, what are you building? What are you building? And I know for a lot of you here, and I know it's been my story too many times as well, I can be building something to be successful, but in the process lose relationships. I've been trying to build a career, right, and lose myself somewhere along the way. So I want you to think this morning, if you're online, so glad you're here as well joining us, but what are you building? And I think a better question would be, will it actually last? Will it last? So as we kind of think of that concept today in week 3 of this series, as Aaron said, what's next? I want you to kind of think about just this kind of big idea, and I'm going to say it a few different times, but the future you want is going to cost you. But the future you ignore will cost you way more. Think about that for a second. The future that you want is going to cost you, right? All of us, we have to make choices every single day. But the future I ignore, and maybe where I really kind of was hoping the direction I could even go in my life, at the end is going to cost me way more than that. So with that, I want you to think about this kind of concept, and then we're going to be in Nehemiah chapter 3. There's kind of 2 versions of you, right? There's the version of you that you kind of plan and anticipate and you arrive somewhere on purpose. And there's the version of you, the future you, that if we're honest, maybe it's just like, well, it wasn't really intentional. It was more accidental. I didn't really build into this. It just kind of happened by default. And that's not to shame any of you, anyone watching online. All of us can get into that, right? We have stuff to do. I've had a million things to do the last 4 weeks. I know all of you guys are the same. I get it. We all get it. But I think there's something to us sometimes maybe just setting down, chilling for a second, and just taking a deep breath and thinking for a second, right? What am I really building? Where am I really going in life? And is that the future that I want? So this morning, I just want to give you a couple thoughts that I've had through Nehemiah 3 and 4. That's the 2 chapters we'll be in, and we'll get out of here. The first is this: sense and stones. Sense and stones. Everyone builds the future. What do I mean by that? It takes everyone. It takes everyone. So if you look in Nehemiah chapter 3, starting verse 1, it says, then Eliashib, I'm going to call him that, the high priest, and the other priests started to rebuild at the sheep gate. And they dedicated it and set up its doors. Next was Uzal, son of Harhiah? I don't know how to say that name. A goldsmith by trade who also worked on the wall. Beyond him was Hananiah, a manufacturer of perfumes. Above the horse gate, the priests repaired the wall, each one repairing the section immediately across from his own house. That's underlined in my Bible for a reason, because I think, one, Nehemiah's genius, right? It's like, hey, Trent, we're going to build the wall. Need you to build a wall. Okay, I'm in. I want you to go to, Chesapeake and build a wall over there. I'm like, okay, Chesapeake's fine. I'm not against them. They're good people. I'm going to build. But no, he did this. He's like, Trent, I need you to build the wall in Green Valley, in Ironton, right in front of your house, right? Because these people literally were watching, and they're like, my kids are not safe. I'm tired of people just coming in and raiding us. I'm tired of never feeling safe at all. Like, yeah, so it mattered to them. Genius by Nehemiah, right? But here's the part. I've read this story multiple times, but never realized this. It says the priest. So you've got a bunch of old men, priests, building the wall. But even more than that, it says one was a goldsmith. Now, I know we're all like, it's not iron worker. A goldsmith would have been like a jewelry guy. And then it said a perfumer. Now, I want you to picture it. Let's say we're moving forward. We're going to build 10,000 square feet right beside us. We're going to connect it. And you come up to me. We're having coffee one day. And Eric's like, hey, so what's the building plan? I've got a great plan. Listen, I went to Belk and J.C. Penney. And I found every single person that was dealing with jewelry and people who were spraying perfume in the mall as you walk by. They're going to build it for us. Right? All of a sudden, I'd be like, dude, that's a terrible plan. But think about this for a second. What's Nehemiah doing? He's like, if I wait till the perfect time and have to get everybody super qualified, we'll never do anything. So he basically told these people, you may feel like you're unqualified. Hear me this morning, okay? You may feel like you're unqualified. You may think you bring nothing to the table. And Nehemiah was like, you're exactly the person we need. We need you. We need you. And I think some of us in the room right here, they're like, yeah, we got it. You need them, right? We switch it. It's like, no, we need you. That means you say they need me. That's what he did. These people who were so unqualified literally still made a difference. Why? Because they simply showed up. Someone asked me 2 weeks ago, it was a C3er, and they said, what's your favorite thing? What's your one favorite thing about C3? And I literally just stopped and said, I can't do that. I can't, because there's so many of you. There's so many amazing things going on all the time. I literally was thinking of Erica, Ellen, literally, check-in. I'm part of all these different messages of people doing stuff. I think of Katie, not call her out, you're going to see her in a second anyways, but Katie, I think about the Thursday team, like all that these people do. It's amazing. I think about Scott Squared, the double Scots in the back, right? They're literally, I walk in. My job is so easy sometimes. I walk in and it's like everything's set up, it's running. Like, who did this? Right? I could not say one at all, but here's the beauty of this, because it takes us all. It takes us all. And I know you're sitting there, some of you might be like, I don't do anything, and things seem to be fine. Maybe they're fine. Maybe they're even good. But what could they be with you? I love this because he literally had to go and look at someone spraying perfume, right? I just work at Belk, spraying perfume, and he's like, I need you to carry like literally 200-pound stones with other people. My hands are delicate, don't do this. It's like, we need you. And these people stepped up. That's the beauty. The future doesn't wait for the qualified. It just waits for the people who simply say, here we are, and we're going to show up. And that's the beauty of this story. Now, you know I'm a grace guy, and I harp this a lot, but here's the whole thing I want you to see too. We don't build or do stuff because we want to earn God's favor. We want God to say he's proud of us because we did good. That's not how it works. It's not. Got that, Faith? All right, yeah. I should never do that. That's the biggest jerk move ever, isn't it? She's just like trying to keep her head down. Hey, Faith Fountain, guys, ladies and gentlemen. No. I like Faith. She didn't care. But no, seriously, it's this unqualified. It's just literally people willing to show up. Oh, that's what I was saying. It's not for God. I do the things I do on a daily basis, not because I'm hoping God's going to like me more, he's going to do more for me, he'll work for me. I do it because he already has. He has. He's already given me it all. He gave me the most expensive thing in the world, his son. So because we have it, we don't work for it, we work because we have it. Sense and stones, it takes everybody. Second thought is this though, sweat and silence. The future always costs something. The future will always cost something. Now look, I get it. I get we're Ohio State, like tri-state people, I get it. Maybe a few of you are Alabama fans, you're not welcome here anymore. No, But I love Saban. Used to be the old football coach. I know some of you don't care. But he had a quote, and I want you to see this because I think it's so profound. Here's what Saban said. He said, if you want to make everyone happy, don't be a leader. Sell ice cream. Right? That's good. But here's what I said. You're like, I'm not a leader. I'm just working. No. I would say this. If you want to have any kind of life at all, you've got to accept you're not going to make everybody happy. Jesus was perfect, and people still hated him. Think about that for a second. That means even if your goal is like, no, I'm going to be perfect, people will still hate you. Matter of fact, they still killed him. That's right. So that's not how this works. There's going to be critics. But as you think about your future, the future I want is going to cost me something. But man, the future I ignore is going to cost me way more. I was thinking about my wife and I. We've been killing it in our PF game, Planet Fitness, lately. We have. I'm not trying to flex. I am a little bit. Okay, I am. I know some of you are like, when you pointed this, yeah, it is what it is. No, but I like Planet Fitness because I think there's this good system. It's like, hey, you can be a member. You can show up. You can not show up. And I thought about that. I'd like to see their numbers. I'd like to see how many people have memberships and they haven't shown up in 6 months. Maybe some of you are in this room are like that. And you think about that's kind of a picture of life. I can pay and still not do anything, or I can pay literally the subscription and not do anything, or I can pay the price every day. Every day I can say, John, I know we're tired, we just got off work, we don't want to go, but let's go, we're going to walk 3 miles. Hey, let's go lift a little bit, whatever it is. Why? Because literally they both cost you. but only one changes you. But I'm afraid for so many of us here, because things get hard, we quit. Because a critic comes along, we quit. Now, I'll show you this. This is one of my favorite moments. Years back when we first started, I had a lady come up to me who still attends. She came up to me and she was like, I went to this church on Sunday night. We didn't do Sunday night. And they were really bashing our church. And I was like, well, why? What did I do? My mom likes me. My wife likes me. Like, I was really kind of hurt by this. And she started saying, yeah, they said you don't even do Sunday nights. You don't do enough services. People wear whatever they want. People drink coffee inside. It's not holy, all this stuff. And I was just kind of like, fair enough. But then she said this. And they said, you, one Sunday morning, because you're just trying to draw a crowd, preach without your shirt on. They said that. That's still to this day my wife's favorite thing, because she's like, has anyone seen you with your shirt off? That's not bringing anybody. Babies crying, people are holding eyes, like, oh, no, honey, won't ever come back, right? I thought, that's the craziest thing. I literally, when she said that, I was like, they did not say that. She's like, it's online, it's recorded, you go listen to it. They're in the middle of that, right? But here's the thing, you're going to have critics. You are. It's just part of life. And what we'll see here in this verse, Nehemiah handles this so well. It says Sanballat in verse 1. Sanballat was very angry. Now, Sanballat is a guy who was really profiting off of the Jews being in this broken state. He was making money off of it. It was very beneficial for him, so obviously he's not happy. Was very angry when he learned that we were rebuilding the wall. He flew into a rage and mocked the Jews, saying in front of his friends and the Samaritan army officers, what does this bunch of poor, feeble, unqualified, right, Jews think they're doing? Do they think they can build a wall in a single day just by offering a few sacrifices? Do they actually think they can make something of stones from a rubbish heap, and charred ones at that? New character, Tobiah the Ammonite, who was staying beside him, remarked, that stone wall would collapse if even a fox walked on top of it. Now, I know that's not trash talk for us today, right? You're not going to play in a game, basketball game, and be like, if a fox, no. But to them, it was like, this wall is weak because you're weak. Weak people make weak walls. What's happening? These people are literally criticizing the work they're doing. You know what I've learned? The people who are criticizing the most, no offense, the people who are criticizing the most, guess what? They're usually not doing much. The people who aren't criticizing, you know why they don't have time to criticize? They're too busy actually trying to do something. Right? So these people are standing around and they're mocking it, making fun of it. But we're going to see here, Nehemiah handles it like a baller. My son Tayden, and he's here, and I've mentioned him before, born profoundly deaf. Well, you young people, I'm going to give you a little hint today. It's going to change your life, okay? For the last couple of months, what my son's been doing is he's been officiating, like rec league games and little league games and all that. And it's crazy. He'll come home. I'm like, how much you make today? It's mind-boggling. It's like, you made $600 it blows my mind. You can make that much money, right? But here's the best part. So he's officiating. My wife always asks, I always say, here's how dads and moms work. He comes in. I'm like, how much you make today? Because you officiate for like 12 hours. Tells me the money. My wife's always like, did anyone get mad? Did anyone yell at you? Right? So we're at Planet Fitness like 2 weeks ago, full circle back. But we're at Planet Fitness, and a guy comes up who was officiating with him, a young guy. And we're sitting there, and he was like, did Tayden tell you? Like, no. He's like, oh, it went nuts. Like this past weekend, it went crazy. He was like, we threw out a guy. There was a mom we had to throw out. I think they had to call the cops. And I'm like, whoa. I thought you guys were officiating second grade girls games. Second grade girls basketball, right? And he's like, we were. I'm like, okay, whatever, keep going. He said, this is the best part though. He said, there was one mom, she was on your son. Like going, no, I mean, she's just giving it to him. She just kept giving it to him. And he said, here's the best part. We're walking off. He said, I look at my son. He said, I look at, Tayden. And I'm like, does that not bother you? He went, what? I can't hear a thing. Right? Think of that. Kind of genius though, isn't it? Like, and I know for some of you in this room, it's like, what if maybe we said, we're not going to fight our critics. We're just going to mute them. Right? We don't have to fight. You don't have to fight every single thing that comes against you in life. Matter of fact, you're never going to get anywhere if you do. Sometimes you have to learn to mute. Now get this. That means maybe even online sometimes, people, okay? I get this all the time. People are like, have you been online lately? I know what that means every time. Like, well, you need to check it out because someone's saying something about, yeah, we get it, right? It's okay. What I love is Nehemiah doesn't say a word to them. He doesn't address them. He doesn't play into it. He just keeps rolling. But now I get it. Some of you here, look at the next verse. Some of you are like, Trent, I get it. You're church guy, God guy. I can't do that. I'm hot-headed. I run hot, baby. Someone wants to come at me. I get it. And you're like, plus, you just can't build all that inside of you, right? It's not good for you to just keep ignoring. You're just going to blow up. Look what Nehemiah does, though. It's kind of genius. I don't know if it's biblical, but it's genius. Nehemiah says, then I prayed in verse 4, hear us, our God, for we're being mocked. May their scoffing fall back on their own heads, and may themselves become captives in a foreign land. Do not ignore their guilt. Do not blot out their sins, for they have provoked you to anger here in front of the builders. At last the wall was completed to half its height around the entire city, for the people had worked with enthusiasm. He's like, God, I'm proud of these people because they're working. But here's his prayer, ready? God, kill them. Right? But here's the point of that. He didn't fight here. He just took off his frustrations vertically. How beneficial would it be for us if some of us get so worried? I can't believe she said that to me. I was sitting in class the other day, and she had the nerve, and I'm going to go. So what I just spread it to other people, and we all just sit and complain and bicker about. I was like, okay, you can't hold it in. I get that. Just take it vertically. I guess with Nehemiah, I give you permission. I don't think it's the Jesus way. Just pray God smites them, Pray her hair looks terrible tomorrow at school. I don't know. Do whatever. But here's the thing. He didn't just hold it in. He said, God, we're trying to do something good here. And man, they're making it hard. You take care of it. Did you catch that? I'm not going to mess with this because I can anyways. When I literally take someone and elevate them, a critic, I make them my peer. I'm not going to do that. It's not because I'm better than them. I'm just not going to play that game. That's the beauty of what he does. And I think for some of us here, I didn't say this in 9:30, but I think it's so true. You know why critics get to us the most? A critic can only be as deep as your insecurity. Picture this. I'm walking away today, right? I'm walking away this morning, and Brock walks up to me. He's like, hey, man, no offense, but I don't think you're ever going to play in the league. You mean the NFL? NBA. I think you suck at basketball. And he walks off. Do you think I'm going to get in my car and be like, Rhonda, do you not think I'll play in the NBA? I know I'm 47. I'm mildly obese. Last doctor's appointment, quite obese, right? No, it doesn't bother me. Why? Because that's not insecurity. But what if I walk down and he's like, normally I think you do a pretty good job, but today, wasn't feeling it. Oh, right? It's only with our insecurity. Nehemiah is so confident. Where do you get that? Here's the good news of the gospel. If God fully loves us, and our relationship with him because of Jesus is intact, I don't have to freak out when people put me down. I don't have to just melt every time someone says something negative about me, and you don't either. Why? Because we have something better. Matter of fact, I can usually listen to criticism. Sometimes there's some helpful stuff in criticism because it's not my identity, right? It doesn't shake me. You're literally, critics are only as deep as your own insecurity. So this morning, before we get to the third point, I want to talk about what's next. And I've got a chair here, and the reason I've got this chair is I want you guys to kind of understand, just hear it straight from the horse's mouth, okay? This is where I stand on this. Because last year I kind of just prayed through, okay, God, what do you think? What should we do? I mean, we're crowded. The 9:30 was crowded today, and you can go through options and say, hey, we'll add a third one, and we can do that. The problem is you have to do it before 9, and you have to do it after 12, and no one wants to come. It doesn't matter. But I was just like, okay, what do we do? So just really praying for like the last really 6 to 12 months kind of on this. And I had to ask myself the last few weeks, why does this even matter to me? Because I'm not going to lie to you guys, it's been hard. And we haven't even started. Like I've had so many questions and people and suggestions. But why? Why? And I would say it's because of this empty chair. Now, before you think I'm going to go standard church mode, right? Every empty chair. I'm all for that. But here's what I've learned over the last 19 years. Every empty chair is a story. It's a story. It's a story that we get the opportunity to play some role in. But every time we increase chairs, we increase stories that get hope. But it goes deeper than that. It also increases our impact. Because I remember 17, 18 years ago, we decided we were going to do Christmas gifts for kids. And I remember sitting around and we did 30 kids we provided Christmas for. And we were sitting in a meeting at the elementary, I don't remember where we were then. I remember we were sitting there and we were celebrating because 30 kids had a Christmas that we played a role in. humbled. I remember that year we did like 15 full Thanksgiving meals. And I remember for this little church that we had with a few chairs, it was amazing. We celebrate, and we should have, because it was amazing. But you know what happens over time? We've increased chairs, our foundation. You know what happened this past year? Over 150 Thanksgiving meals. Over 300 kids that I watched. Parents walk in, fully shopped, and it's amazing in here. But what does it mean when you add more? What if 300 becomes 3,000? Oh, Trent, we're getting crazy. Well, if you would have told me a few years ago 30 was going to be 300, I would have said, oh, that would be awesome, but it's probably not going to happen. What about that, though? What if 300 or 3,000 kids, think about this. What if one day we're sitting here and we're like, well, we gave, and we'll just play it off like it's nothing, we gave 1,500 full meals to families on Thanksgiving. Think of that, right? Because this is what the foundation means. The foundation not only increases hope and stories, but it increases impact. And it always has. So that's why it takes everyone to build the future. That's why the future will cost us something. It will either way. The future you want will cost you something. The future you ignore, I argue, will cost you way more. You'll wish you hadn't probably went down that road. But here's the last point. Swords and shovels. Swords and shovels. Right? What's this mean? Sacrifice is always where the future is built. I forgot to tell you, I read this a few weeks ago. It fascinated me. When Nehemiah built the wall, so they got to surround the city, so it's fortified, which is all what nations, cities did back then. When he went to build the wall, there were 6 main gates. And we're going to see maybe next week how he did that. There's 6 main gates. There's a sheep gate, there's a fish gate, whatever. But one of those was the dung gate. Now you young people are like, you don't know what that means. The crap gate. Okay, and what that means is in cities, they always have one place where everyone would take all their human waste, all their garbage, and then they wait till the city was safe. They'd open the gates and someone would take it out to a nearby town. Here it was about a mile away, and they'd burn it and get rid of their waste. Right? I got to think about that because I know God has a sense of humor. If I lived back then, I would have been so excited. Where am I? The fish gate? I love Long John Silver's fish gate, right, God? You're on the dung gate. Oh, that's a crappy job. But here's, and Nehemiah would be like, literally, yes. But here's the point of that. It's not all glamorous. I've learned in my short life here of 47 years that most of the most impactful things I do, no one ever sees. Ever. They don't. And I know this is so sad. I've said it before to you guys. I actually try hard up here. I know. Some of you are like, really? Because I get it. You're like, I get if you just go up there and talk. You're mediocre if you're just, you're just shooting from the hip. But you're going to tell me you spend hours thinking through this stuff? Oh, that's just sad. Right? We really could do better. I get all of that. I do. But the things I do that are probably most impactful, none of you are ever going to see. And it's the same for your life. It's just changing diapers. No. It's huge. Right? I'm just going to take a moment. My wife was so good for me. Last night she said this because I've been swamped and doing stuff. And she was like, hey, kids coming home? Just chill. Right? And she knows I'm going to push back. Oh, I got to do it. And she's like, why? Because she knows what's important. Don't miss the most impactful moments of your life. They're not glamorous, but they're important. So Nehemiah says this. He says, don't be afraid. So before I show you a video, I want to share with you a quote. And I'm not flexing. I've read a few books in my day. I am flexing a little bit. I like to read. Readers are leaders. It's what my 4th grade teacher taught me. No, but seriously, I've read. And I'll say this, there's probably 5, I can count on one hand, the things I've read that have impacted just me personally, where I'm like, dang, that's good. That's really good. And it stuck with me for years. And Bronnie Ware basically was doing palliative care, end-of-life care, and she started asking these people at the end of their life questions. And this is one of the top 5 that just when I read that, I was like, man, that is so, like if young people could even get a hold of it, it's so good. But here's why the story's fascinating. She literally said this. She said, I noticed when I would talk to them about big failures, some people had tried to start businesses. Some of them had stepped out really big time and failed miserably. And she said, you would think they'd be like, oh, that was a tough time. She said, these people on their deathbed would laugh. They would laugh about it. Yeah, I just guess I wasn't made to start a restaurant. She said, the only time I noticed that they got quiet was anytime I asked about something they wished they had done, and they never tried. And here's why I think this quote is so good. She said, patience wept, not for what they had lost, but for what they had never allowed themselves to start. Why am I telling you that? Because literally what she realized is when most of us, or majority of us get to the end of our life, we realize I'm going to regret the things I never tried. Really. It was relationships was a big, there's 5 things, but this one really stood out to me because I thought, we get so nervous about, oh, what if I fail? What if this doesn't work? And she's like, that's the thing people regret, not starting. Let me say this one more time. The future you want will cost you no matter what. But the future you ignore will cost you way more. Look what he says, last 2 verses. Verse 14. Nehemiah's time to rally them together, Braveheart moment. He says, remember the Lord who is great and glorious, and here's why we're doing this, okay? Here's why. He says, I need you to fight for your brothers, your sons, your daughters, your wives, your homes. The laborers then had to, get how hard this was. They carried on their work with one hand supporting their load and one hand holding a weapon. That's why I called it swords and shovels. You literally had perfume guys and goldsmith with delicate hands holding a heavy sword and then with one hand a trowel, shovel, working because they had to watch their back every second. So they come to Nehemiah and they're like, we're tired. This is hard. It's not glamorous. And he says this. He says, this is why we're doing this. So if they do come and we have to fight, this is who you fight for. And it's genius. He says you fight for your brothers, your sons, your daughters, your wife. You fight for your home because that's what matters. This morning, I want to share a quick video with you as we think about what really matters. Check it out.
The thing that I've noticed is every time that I come here and complain about giving my time, my effort, my, just chill, like laid back time that I would have, I leave feeling better. I don't know how I would have done if we hadn't filmed it, really, because it's like, all right, this has been a pretty nice lifeline of people.
As I just started showing up and meeting people, I just started filling in spaces. So started being a runner, started being a welcome team, started serving on Thursdays in the morning group. Just started showing up and just seeing where I was needed.
A lot of times people wait to be asked. A lot of times you can see what's going on. You can see like, hey, there's a need here when you're doing something for others. Like that's at the base, like that's probably what we should be doing. You know what I mean? Like as a human being, like that's when you feel like, all right, I've done something. This is what I'm supposed to be doing.
Even the little things I've been able to see add up to the big things. So you can give in a big way or a small way, and it always works, and it's pretty cool.
You know, it's kind of what C3's done for me, and it's just given me a place to go where I do get some positivity. I do get, every time I thought I didn't want to do something, I'm glad I did.
C3 closed down tomorrow. Who would miss us? There would be people who miss us.
What stands out to me is like I wouldn't know half of the people that I know. I wouldn't know half the situations I know if it wasn't for C3.
Coming here, and it actually healed me from feeling dark and just giving into this tri-state isn't the best place to be, because it actually is a great place.
It's almost one of those things that it's like you have to experience it to really get it. I can't, as you can tell by this interview, I can't fake it. You know what I mean? So it's like, they like me, seem to, so I think you're going to be all right.
We want you to feel this. We want you to share in a little bit of this with us. The tri-state needs us.
Yeah. I mean, it's not even about.
I feel like we meet a need, and then there's going to be more needs. We're far from where we need to be. We scratched the surface, and it's amazing, but more needs to be done. And so we've got to make room. We've got to have more people fill up these empty seats, and we need a building with lots of empty seats.
So this morning, there's a card under your chair, and I'd like you guys, trust me, no pressure. I'd just like you guys to grab that if you would, take it home. Don't fill it out. Don't, literally, I just want you to take this home. But let me close, and as we pray, I would like you to hear this. We talked about the chair, right? I want you just to picture with me before we pray. This chair, okay? This chair represents someone riddled with anxiety, just trying to function. This chair represents someone who feels completely doomed by depression and can't get out of a dark place. This chair represents a husband and wife who are saying, we're going to call it quits because we can't do this anymore. This represents a mom frazzled. And the reason I know that is because I've seen that happen time and time again. So what I would love for you to do is literally just take this home. Look at it, pray about it, talk about it. But I'm going to challenge you guys. And if you're watching online, you still can do this. You don't have to have the card. Just do this right where you're at. Here's what I'd like you to pray. God, what part do you want me to play in building what's next? What part do you want me to play? Because I'm telling you, what it takes is a bunch of ordinary people coming together, and then what happens is always extraordinary. I've seen it happen time and time again. And there's nothing more exciting than when God takes a bunch of ordinary people, perfumers, right? Goldsmith, high priest, people that shouldn't be doing what they're doing, and he uses them to do something miraculous. So this morning, here's a simple prayer. As we pray together, Father, I just pray that all of us would ask a simple question. God, what part do I need to play in building what's next? Father, I thank you for so many people who've already stepped up, people who do so much around here, as Travis said, with their time, their energy, their resources. But God, I pray today that all of us would realize it takes all of us. God, I know it's so easy for some of us to say, no, they don't need me, or I can never contribute, whether that's serving, give, whatever it might be. God, you love taking the ordinary and the small and making it extraordinary, big. So I just pray today for all of us this simple question. God, what part do you want me to play as we think about future generations, as we think about more hope, more peace? God, I can't help but think every empty chair is a story that needs hope, and that hope can only come from you. I haven't found it anywhere else yet. So I pray today we would be willing to move in that direction. Father, the good news is you've already given it to us. So today we simply take that step. I pray for these people. I pray for next week as we celebrate the week before Easter. I pray as we do some things we've never done before here, just that we would be reminded of how good you truly are. God, it takes all of us unqualified, ordinary people. God, I love what Katie said. What if we're just literally scratching the surface of what you want to do in the tri-state and the world through us? I pray that's what we step into. We thank you so much. We ask these things in your name. Amen. Guys, I've got a lot planned for next week. You don't want to miss it. Next week, we build. Take care.